tomorrow. This is a non-stop tour of the animal kingdom. The transport never stops for you to take photos, and it is very bumpy, but the animals are well cared for. Enjoy the trip.
Now, black rhinos are very exciting to see because unfortunately their numbers are dwindling in the wild, and that's because they are being poached for their horns. People think rhino horns have medicinal purposes, but they certainly don't. Those horns are just made out of keratin. That's the same substance our fingernails and hair is made out of. 3,000 pounds, but that does make them one of the smaller rhino species. White rhinos are much bigger, and we might also see those along the way. Now we're going to head out of the forest where we have seen quite a few animals already. There's also a pink-backed pelican here to our left side. A pretty good look at the pink-backed pelican. Don't always see them so close up. So there's hippos here to the left side of us in the water as well. A group of them, like we're seeing, is called a bloat of hippos. And they can hold their breath for 8 minutes at a time. We are seeing the rest of the pod of pelicans here to our left side. They like to hang out in groups of about 3 to get their names because the skin on their backs will take on a dusty pink color during their mating season. And the birds look pretty compact, huddled there on the island, but they have a surprisingly large wingspan of about 9 feet across. For reference, that's the same as the width of the canopy that you're sitting under. Looks like there are more hippos up out on land here to our left. Please don't stand to see them if you can't. Make sure everyone is remaining seated. Now also up out on land, coming up here to our left, Nile crocodiles. Nile crocodiles will weigh 500 pounds and get to be 16 feet long. They do have 2 different animal group names. If you see them on land, you can call them a bass, and in the water, you can call them a bloat of crocodiles. Well, most of the time, it looks like somebody accidentally planted it with its roots in the air, completely upside down. That's why the baobab tree is nicknamed the upside down tree. The baobab does mean that we are headed out onto the savannah, which is home to many of your favorite animals, such as giraffes, elephants, different species of antelope, and even lions we might encounter along the way. 18 to 20 feet tall as adults. When giraffe calves are born, they are already 6 feet tall.
Wow.
So we are seeing some baby giraffes as well as adults. Also further across the field in collie cattle, which have huge horns. And we're also going to see a herd of white-bearded wildebeest. Those are gray with black stripes on their neck. Over to the right side as well. There are quite a few of them. Much better look at the herd of wildebeest here. A group of them. They're actually known for migrating in numbers upwards of 1.5 million wildebeest at one time, making them one of the most densely packed migrating animals on Earth. They're also referred to as gnu, which is spelled G-N-U. That's for the low grunting sound that they'll make. Now we are going to see quite a few giraffes coming up. Keep in mind they are wild animals and we really don't want to bother them. So if we can refrain from loud noises, and please no calling to them in any way. Also, try and catch a glimpse of a giraffe tongue. They eat for 16 to 20 hours out of their day. So if you can catch a glimpse of their tongue, you'll see it's actually blue. Because if their tongue was pink like ours, it would get sunburnt being exposed to the elements all throughout the day. Certainly, I don't know anybody that would enjoy a sunburnt tongue, so it's a good thing theirs are blue. Their tongues are also 18 inches long and prehensile, which means they can grasp with them, and that's what will help them to get the leaves that are so high up on the trees here in the savannah. You'll notice that the leaf line does stop at a Watusi cattle, and those large horns of theirs are actually mostly hollow inside. They do have a honeycomb-like structure, so those horns only weigh about 5 pounds. Looks like there might be giraffes crossing the road here, quite a few of them, so we are going to hold for them.
Oh, look. Coming to see you.
Oh, yes.
Sorry.
No.
So it looks like all of these giraffes are headed pretty close to us now. A really great look at the Maasai giraffes. A group of them, like we're seeing here, is called a tower of giraffes. Pretty appropriate animal group name. Also, if you notice the way they walk, they do move the legs on the right side of their body and then the legs on the left side of their body, which gives them their very graceful forward motion. We are definitely right in the middle of this tower of giraffes right now. And we are seeing quite a few young ones. Looks like we should be back on the move here. This is an African elephant, and you might notice that it has dirt and mud and even hay on its back. Elephants do have very sensitive skin, so they put that there on purpose to help keep them safe from the sun, just like how we put on sunscreen before we go to the beach. Quite a few of them. We have found many more elephants here. So we probably spotted a male before, we could tell because it was off by itself. Female African elephants will spend more time in larger social groups, while males will often go off on their own, sometimes forming smaller herds known as bachelor herds. And we'll make our way toward Flamingo Island, which of course is home to flamingos. You guessed it. These specifically are the greater flamingos. They are the tallest and lightest pink of all flamingo species, but they're not always pink. When flamingos are hatched, they are a light gray color, and they get their pink shade from the brine shrimp and krill that they eat. And flamingos are very social animals, so it's common that we find them in a large group like this one. That's called a flamboyance of flamingos. Now let's head out of keratin. Also, we did see elephant tusks there, and those are made out of ivory. This is a desert-dwelling animal that can go for 9 months straight without a drink of water. So it gets the hydration that it needs from the vegetation that it eats. And it does also get its name because of those huge curved horns. They resemble a Middle Eastern sword called a scimitar. What a beautiful animal to spot here as our grand finale. We are now headed on, and that makes them a ton larger than the black rhino that we spotted earlier in the forest.
She just told you to bloody move.
So this lion has laid down. Looks like we're seeing at least 2 of them here. Looks like there's a female and a male. Now those large padded paws will help them with traction while running. Oh, we're gonna see warthogs here coming up to our left. These are, this is a sounder of warthogs, which is what our group is called. The holes that you're seeing here are called burrows. They'll put their backsides into their burrows first and sit with their faces sticking out to look for predators. And Pumbaa is the name of the warthog in Lion King, but it doesn't mean warthog in Swahili. It does actually mean foolish one. Get a much better, a different look at the white rhinos. They are called a crash altogether, which might have something to do with the fact that they don't see very well. Rhinos only see about 10 to 15 feet in front of them, and they can move pretty quickly in their own right, about 35 miles an hour, which is pretty impressive for an animal that weighs 2.5 tons. Also, large yellow eggs on the ground closest to us on the right. Those are ostrich eggs. And we're also going to see Bontebok here to our right side. These Bontebok, the small brown antelope you're seeing, were once down to 17 in number as a species. And that's because they are poached for their purplish brown coat. But a farmer kind of unknowingly fenced in the last 17 of the species. And Bontebok, unlike many other species of antelope, can't really jump.